Now, first question, what about tax incentives for more investment? Well, I already mentioned this. If you encourage more investment, this builds up your capital labor ratio. This should increase. How about cash payments for good school attendance? Well, they've actually been tried. In some countries in Central America, Mexico, have tried this, and it actually has good results. For the poorer families that will tend to have lower school attendance, these cash payments actually mean a lot. They don't have to be a lot of money. You don't think of it as much money, but for the very poor, it's actually quite impactful. And it helps keep the children in school. So this increases the education levels and it reduces the population growth rates. So both of these things will increase economic growth. Why does it increase population growth? Why does it decrease population growth? Because you keep the girls in school, they don't get married, they don't have children, population growth rates slow down. C, getting rid of government corruption. I just mentioned this. You want good governance. You don't want a government that just, takes away property from the people without rule of law. Getting rid of corruption and having a good government, clear rules that should encourage economic growth. What about restricting imports? Well, I mentioned the case of India. If you restrict imports and you have a closed economy, you don't participate in the technological development of the whole world. That will slow down economic growth. So improving infrastructure, well, that's going to contribute towards your capital labor ratio. Your capital here is both private buildup of capital as well as public capital like infrastructure. So improving transport infrastructure will encourage economic growth. And like I mentioned, some economists believe this is part of the secret recipe of China's fast economic growth. A lot of infrastructure. And free birth control, well, that should slow down population growth rates. So that should have a positive effect on GDP per capita growth, economic growth. Okay, lastly, we want to briefly address the problems that come with economic development. So there are some people in the society who believe that we should slow down economic growth because it comes with certain costs. Definitely, if you need to invest more and fund this investment, this will take away from consumption today. So that is a cost of investment. You have to not consume today. You have to save for investment for the future. It's just like if you have an income of 1,000 a week, you can spend it all, or you can spend 500 and save the other 500 for the future. If you save 500 for the future, you consume less today. So more savings and investment for faster economic growth reduces consumption available today. That's one thing. Another thing that is bad about keeping only economic growth in mind is that you lose sight of the other things that are important for the well-being of society. So if you're always promoting economic growth, you might not pay attention to environmental costs, health and safety issues in the workplace. So this is also another cost of only paying attention to economic growth. And the Chinese central government has said that we need to pay attention to these other issues as well, not just concentrate on economic growth. We need to pay attention to the environment and safety and health issues. Now, a good thing about economic growth and environmental issues is that even though the early part of economic growth will tend to worsen the environment, as was experienced in China over the last 30, 40 years. We have a lot of economic growth in China, but the rivers became more polluted, the air became polluted. But still, after a while, after you become middle income, around the income level of Mexico and China today, further economic progress will tend to improve the environmental quality. A rich society will invest in the environment. So Mexico City was known for its terrible air quality up until recently. But more recently, as Mexico became richer, the air quality improved. China has experienced the same thing. China's air quality was famously bad, but it's been improving over the last few years because China is now investing in making sure that the environment is getting better. So this curve that you see there suggests that and the environmental problems get worse when you first start to develop, but you got to push through. And once you reach a certain level of income, similar to what China has today, any further development will improve the environment. So you got to push through and quickly become rich in the environment. You can take care of the environment. Another question about economic progress is are there any limits to how much economic growth we can have? Are there any limits to how big the economy can be? Now, if you think of what we do today, there are certainly limits to what we do today. You can't just build more and more factories and doing exactly the same. You take over the whole world, use up the whole world, there's no more space left. That's certainly a limit. And if you keep on using resources at the rate we're using today, we're going to run out of the resources. Can't use it anymore. But economists are not very pessimistic. They're actually quite optimistic about the future. They believe that societies will learn new ways of production, better technologies, new technologies that enable us to produce more using fewer natural resources. So recycling, alternative energy systems, technological progress will enable us to produce more value in the future while keeping the environment better. And so we'll actually lower what we call the environmental footprint of a society, even as we have more economic growth because of technological progress. So that's the hope for that economists have for the future, and hopefully that happens. That we will go through to a bright future with better technology and a cleaner industrial processes. But to get there, we need the right government policies. We need government policies that promote the use of renewable energies and renewable resources and tax the use of depletable resources and tax pollution and penalize those who pollute. And these policies that reduce what we call the negative externalities of production will bring us to this